It is our great pleasure to have as our first guest on Calvary and Community, Mark Scott, the Chief of Police in Americus. Welcome.
Good morning.
My wife and I are relatively new residents to Americus, so there might be other new residents also. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I grew up in Moultrie. I'm a native Georgian. Grew up there, went to school in Valdosta. Had a brief stint at Georgia Tech, just long enough to figure out I was not cut out to be an engineer. They made that abundantly clear. Ended up at Valdosta, actually studied broadcasting at Valdosta State, came out with a degree, fine arts degree in media, radio and television. I did that for about 6 years, worked in a television station down in Tallahassee, covered the Thomasville area, did TV news. I was a photographer. Got interested in police work. Pretty much had always been interested in police work, so left the TV station and went to work for the police department down in Thomasville. Started as a patrol officer, worked there for 20 years. Did just about everything you can do. Worked patrol, detectives, got promoted, worked management. Left there at the rank of captain after 20 years. Got a job in Albany as a deputy chief, which was a step up. Was in Albany for 7 years, and then was able to come here to Americus. Been here almost 4 years now, coming up on 4 years.
Well, you have an impressive resume on so many different levels.
It's long.
One thing that a lot of people may not realize is just how a police department operates. And can you give us an idea of the makeup of the Americas Police Department, patrol officers, command staff, and so forth?
Sure. Well, we're authorized to have 44 sworn officers. As of today, we're 4 short. So we're doing pretty good. We've been hiring a lot. Those last 4 positions are kind of elusive. we keep getting to the 4 mark, and then we'll have somebody retire or somebody go work for another agency. We'll get back to 5 or 6, but then we'll always make it back to 4. So I'm hoping for 2020 we'll be able to fill all of our vacancies. That would be wonderful. The department's divided into 3 main sections. We have the patrol division, which is our largest division. And that's the uniformed police officers that everybody sees. We run 4 shifts. They work a 12-hour shift. So they work from, they usually come in around 6:30, do their morning meetings, and then they hit the street. Next biggest division is investigations, which we have currently 4 detectives, a sergeant, and then a major that's over that unit and patrol. And then the administrative side of it, which is all the records and municipal court and equipment and quartermaster and vehicles and all the stuff that actually makes the department, keeps us going, payroll and all that good stuff.
What some people may not realize is that police officers have to spend a certain amount of time in court and testifying in trials and so forth. On average, I know investigators spend a little more time in court, but about how much time in court do the officers spend?
Actually, the patrol officers end up spending more time in court than the investigators do. You would think it'd be the other way around. But they work their 12-hour shifts, but a lot of their days off, they're still up there. They write a lot of traffic tickets. People who don't pay their fines before the court date end up coming to court. So, if they're going to pay their fine or they're going to plead not guilty and want a bench trial, either way, the officer has to be there. So they spend a lot of time sitting in municipal court while the judge goes through the log. The vast majority of the cases that the patrol officers make ends up in city court. Some of the things that rise to a little higher level and they take it to state court, but then that's a whole other area that they have to be at. And then the felony cases go to superior court, and a superior court trial can eat up a lot of time and take a lot of people off the street. So people don't realize the 12-hour days are long and tiring. But what really kind of wears them down is on their days off, especially when they're on night shift, they should be home sleeping and they're ended up sitting in court.
You say they're 12-hour shifts. How many 12-hour shifts in a week do the officers normally work?
They work as kind of a staggered shift, so they'll have 2 days on, they'll be off for 2 days, they'll work 2, they'll be off for 3, then they'll work, and then it rotates so that they have every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then work the next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, the officers seem to really like that rotation. Most police departments are using that now. It's the most effective use of your manpower. Back in the old days, we ran 8-hour shifts, but it takes a lot more people to give you the same coverage on an 8-hour shift than it does on a 12.
This is definitely not a 9-to-5 kind of job, is it?
No. Even the investigators are on a 40-hour or 42-hour a week schedule, so they work Monday through Friday, but they rotate being on call. So if there's a major crime, a homicide or a serious robbery or that kind of thing, they all get called out. So even the ones who are not really on the shift anymore, they're still subject to be called anytime.
About 30 years ago, I was a civilian employee for a sheriff's department down in Florida, and it was a real eye-opening experience, to say the least. What kinds of things do your civilian employees, well, first, how many civilian employees do you have, and what types of things do they do to support the officers?
We have 7. One is our animal control officer, so he's probably the most visible out in the community. A lot of people see him, Officer Moody. So he responds to all our animal complaints, the barking dogs, the dogs running loose, 15 feral cats in my yard, dead skunk under the house, whatever it is. If it has to do with an animal, Travis is out there, and he does an awesome job. He really loves animals, and he actually makes cases as well. So if you aren't taking care of your dog or cat, we get a lot of calls for animals who are chained out in the yard with no food, no water, no shelter. So he'll come out, and if he finds that you're not taking care of your animals, we'll charge you and take you to court on it. So we have him. We have our municipal court clerk, Miss Shelley. She runs the court. So she sets the docket. She keeps the judge straight. She keeps things moving along. We have 3 folks up in the front office. We have a dispatcher and 2 records personnel who deal with the public when they come and go. So that's the main faces that you'll see when you come up there to pay a fine or to get information, get a copy of a rec report or whatever it is. I have an administrative assistant that works out of my office, and then we have an administrative assistant that works in investigations and keeps all those guys straight.
It's my understanding that you mentioned this, in fact, that a number of law enforcement agencies across the country are understaffed, and we seem to be in good shape. How do you recruit officers to the Americus PD?
It is tough. Police departments across the state of Georgia and across the country are having a hard time recruiting good personnel. When I first got here 4 years ago, we were 15 down in sworn officers out of 44, so that was very significant. We have been aggressively recruiting. We go out in the community, we go to job fairs, we go to the schools, we go to the colleges. We have a police academy here at South Georgia Tech, so we recruit from unattached students out there. There's police academies in Columbus and Tifton and Macon and all around us, so when those regional academies are getting near graduation, we'll go and recruit amongst unattached people who are putting themselves through the academy. So, but the job market is really good right now. So, there's a lot of jobs out there. Unemployment's really low. So, we're competing with corporations and businesses and local businesses for the same pool of people. And for those who want to be police officers, we're competing with Macon and Columbus and Atlanta and all these other big agencies. We're down 4 right now. The city of Atlanta has over 300 unfilled police positions right now. Gwinnett County, was talking to the chief up there a few weeks ago, they got over 100. So, there are plenty of police jobs out there and very few applicants. The thing that we have to offer, though, is, we have Americus. We're a small town. We're very family oriented. It's a great place to live. we feel like we have a very family-friendly police department. We put a lot of focus on the employees and on the officers, and trying to take care of them and their families. The city offers a really great benefit package. So, a lot of cities have gotten away from the traditional retirement system and gone to a 401 type plan. But the city of Americus still offers a full retirement. The council voted just this month to make our retirement even better. So you can actually retire sooner from the city if you put in the years. So, full medical, full health benefits. We have a very strong wellness program. We put a lot of focus on employee health and employee wellness. So, if you work for the city, not only are you taken care of as far as, your health insurance and having free checkups and all that, but we actually have health coaches that come to each department within the city and meet with the employees and encourage them, lose weight, stay healthy, exercise, watch your diet. They monitor blood pressure. It's just a really good environment here in the city.
If somebody is listening, a young man or young woman, and feels interested in going into law enforcement, who should they contact?
You can go online to the city's webpage, which is www.americusga.gov. And if you click on the Human Resources link, you can apply online, fill out, you can download the entire package, email it back in. You can download it, fill it out, bring it by City Hall on Lamar Street in the municipal building. You can go by HR and pick up an application. You can, you can go on Facebook and message us. So if you go to our Facebook page, we will email you an application to fill out. So, if you're interested in working for the Americus Police Department, there's no reason why you shouldn't apply. We can get you an application. It's a fairly extensive process. We really do. We put a lot of time into the background checks. We want to make sure that the folks we're hiring are going to be good candidates, and they don't have a lot of negative things in their background that's going to, cause problems for them down the road. So, but I think it's worth it.
One of the things I've really been impressed with is the amount of involvement the police department has in the community. Just recently, you did the Shop with a Cop program before Christmas. I've never heard of anything like it. Where did the idea come from? How does it work? And how can people be supportive of that effort?
Well, that particular program, Shop with a Cop, was one we were involved with when I was in Thomasville. This year, I was trying to figure out how many Shop with a Cops I have done in my career. It's over 20. I'm thinking around 25. So we did it in Thomasville for many years. When I got to Albany, they had a Shop with a Cop program. Theirs was actually administered by the Fraternal Order of Police, which was an outside agency. And it incorporated the Albany Police and Dougherty County and the Sheriff's Department. Actually, it was a smaller program than the one we do, even though it's some very, very big agencies in a fairly large city. It's not unique to us. It's not. I wish I could say I came up with it, but it's not something we came up with. But it's something that we have. We did not have it here when I got here 4 years ago, and my reason for starting is kind of selfish because I love Shop with a Cop. It's one of my favorite things to do each year. Having the kids from the community come, we take them out to lunch, to dinner, get to socialize with them, and there's just nothing like pairing a kid up with a cop and having them go through the store and just be able to pick out whatever it is they want to pick out. And we could not do that without the community's donations. So, we had just a tremendous outpouring of assistance this year. We had people that were donating right up to the day. We've already had people wanting to give for next year. So, civic organizations, put us in your budget. We appreciate it. 30 kids, that's a substantial number. I'd love to do more kids, but that's all the officers I got. So, we actually have had some interest from other local agencies, kind of wanting to join in. So, if the donations are there and we got some other agencies that want to join us, we can do more kids. We could, 30, 40. I'd love to double the number. Because the donations were up this year, we were able to increase the amount we gave each child this year. So, the first 2 years we did $100 a child. This year we were able to give them $150, which, once you start throwing stuff in the buggy, that's gone in a hurry. It don't take long to spend $150 at Walmart. Those of you who just, just go to the grocery side, and that's gone in a quickness. So, yeah, we do that. We started a new one this year, Santa Patrol. I think there are a couple of departments around the country that do that, not very many. I just happened to see, we went to a event at my son's church in Macon, and it wasn't a police unit, but there was an SUV sitting in the parking lot that had this magnetic sign on the side that said Santa Patrol, we're watching to see if you're naughty, or something along those lines. And got to thinking about that would be fun. We can make a magnetic sign, stick it on the side of a patrol car, and have kids come up and give them candy. It kind of reassure them that they are on the nice list.
Right.
Some of them we weren't so sure about.
Yeah.
But, we told them they were on the nice list anyway. But that was a lot of fun. The officers enjoyed that. We had several volunteering to go out and give candy. We actually had some folks donate some gifts the week before Christmas. So Christmas Eve, the officer that was doing Santa Patrol gave out candy and some presents to the kids. So, we're always looking for ways that we can interact with the community. We teach the GREAT program, which is a gang resistance program in the schools every year, which allows us to touch every single middle schooler in the Americus Sumter school system. We do a summer camp each summer, which is based on the GREAT curriculum, which gives us a chance to, interact with kids in a positive way and give them something to do during the summer rather than just roam the streets. So, parents who are interested in that, go ahead and be thinking about that. It's the same middle school age. We do a lot of other community programs. We're involved. A lot of our officers coach sports. Some of them referee. We encourage them to be involved in civic organizations, in their churches, and to give back to the community any way that they can.
How can individuals, churches, other organizations support these community outreach efforts? How can we contribute?
Well, if you want to give a monetary contribution, it goes to the Americus Police Benevolence Fund, which is a charitable organization separate from the police department, although it's administered through the police department. So those are tax-deductible gifts. I was busy filling out the paperwork yesterday to do our financial reports to the Secretary of State. So, those financial records are open. We report to the IRS every year. It's an above-the-board charity. So you can give that way. Your gifts to that are tax-deductible. You can give of your time. We have people who, volunteer to help us with events. During the summer, we try to do some different cookouts in some of the parks around town, and we call on some of our local churches to come out, man the grill. Sometimes the churches will provide the meats and the sides and all that, and do the whole thing. We just help advertise it and have a presence there. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. You can always invite us to your event. So we'd love having officers come out and interact with stuff that other people in the community are doing. So it doesn't have to be about us. We don't have to be the organizers. We'll jump in on your party and have fun with you and let you do all the work. But we always need volunteers. So we have a group that helps us out with traffic direction. We started that this year. It's Friends of the Police kind of group. Mitch Grant is heading that up. You can find them on Facebook. So there are a lot of ways to get involved.
Thank you, Chief Scott, for being with us this morning. It's been a blessing and delight, and thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you.